are the ones that you can, they're cancerous, and you really want to cut them out as quick as possible.
Yeah, it will stop. They're usually the ones that will resign. They're usually the ones that always has something to complain about. They're never happy. There's nothing that you can do to make them happy. So, and that's within themselves. Those are the emotions that they have to deal with, right? You, as a leader, you've given them direction, motivation.
Okay, welcome back to another episode of The Big Bang, brought to you by Kingdom Culture Agency, and I'm your host, Poet Presley. I'm super excited to be here with you all today. I want to give a huge shout out to our sponsors at Got Success. Make sure you all check out GotSuccessStore.com for everything success. Today, I have the honor and the privilege to introduce some wonderful guests. Our topic today is going to be a little crazy, so I need you to make sure that you all come with an open mind and just get ready to learn and dive deep into the spirit. Today, our episode is going to be on how to rebuke unclean spirits in the workplace, or not even how to, just being conscious of it and aware of it. A lot of times when you're at work or you're in the workplace, you have coworkers that you just can't get along with, or it's just something about this boss. There's a lot of conflict. You may need some sort of team building, and we're going to go to the root of everything. So I have the privilege and the honor to introduce today Innovative Directions Investment Group. That's going to be the owners, Keneidra and Darren Hargrove. And they are two wonderful partners that we have in the kingdom. A little bit about Miss Keneidra. She's actually the chief executive member of IDIG. IDIG is going to be for short. And she's also a 24-year-old veteran of the United States Army. She learned a lot of the leadership and development that she has from the United States Army. So it was a privilege just to have them here today. And we want to thank them for their service in the United States Army. She actually graduated in Applied Science Administrative/Management Studies, and she holds her Bachelor's of Science in Liberal Studies from Purdue. And if I mess something up, y'all get me right? So I'm doing the intro, but look, we're going to get it right, though. She's also certified as a government instructor and trainer, and she has mastered resiliency as a trainer, and she also has a top secret/sensitive say it for me?
Compartment, are you talking about my...
Compartmented...
Secret...
informative clearance. She has a top secret clearance right now, right? So she's super bossed up, right? And we also have Mr. Darren, right? And he's the director of business operations. So he does a lot as far as maximizing the returns and investments and increasing productivity. He's also a veteran within the United States Army. He has 30 years of experience doing that. I want to say you were Command Sergeant Major, Sergeant Major in the Army. And if you know anything about the United States Army, that's I think one of the highest positions that you can go to within a certain field of it as well. He holds his Master's of Education in Organizational Leadership, and that's from the North Central University. And he also has a Bachelor's of Science degree, right? And he was also an instructor at the United States Army Sergeant Major Academy, right? Yeah. So we have two great leaders here that can come and give us not only advice, but give us their experience about coaching, mentoring, and leadership, and how we can take our business, our life, just everything in general to the next level. So I want to welcome you all. That's a mouthful. Hopefully I got it right, but how are you all doing today?
Wonderful.
Good. Yeah,
Blessed.
thanks for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's such a privilege to be here with you all today. I knew this was going to be the best episode. I want to go right into it. And I want to discuss just with you all working. I want you all to tell us a little bit about IDIG, a little bit about you all's experience in the military, what led to the formation of IDIG, and how did we get to where we're at today?
Okay. I'll start off. Well, I joined the military back in 1984 when I was in high school. Did 6 years in the Guard, and I did 24 years active service. And then once I had retired from that job, I took a job as a regional manager with Serco. And so it was kind of funny because what they was doing was government contracting. And so we lost the contract to a small business. And I kind of looked at the leadership of the small business, kind of say, you know what, we can do that. So I got a few friends together, talked to Keneidra about it, and we back in 2017 formed IDIG. So we, said what we're going to do is put what we do best is leadership and management into the civilian sector. Because in the Army, especially the NCO Corps, we are mid-managers. And what we do is take those individuals and make them leaders. And so we said we can do this in the civilian sector as well. And so that's kind of the overview of how we got started with the Innovative Directions Investment Group.
Yeah, absolutely. So I went to college for a little bit, and then I decided, well, I kind of want to do something different. Joined the military, served 24 years, various leadership positions, and retired. And then as I retired, I was like, oh, I'm definitely in support of, starting this business and running it and doing it, because that's exactly what we did. We went to training at every level, initial all the way to the executive level, training positions. And we just bring what we know, we bring it here.
So how do you all, where you're at now, help build and nurture teams? So when you're going into these different organizations, how do you all build them? How do you all nurture them? How do you all help?
That's funny because, one of the things about you going into these organizations, if you heard the thing of this is the way we've always done it, here we go, we ready. Because things change.
Right.
If you look at how social media done took over, now AI, and so what we do, one of the concepts that we like to do is come and do a working lunch and put what you are taught into place now. So when you're talking about team building, you have to understand what makes up a team. And so one of the biggest phrases or things I've always tell the individuals is this. I'll go in and talk to them. I say, you have 10 individuals. They all over the place. Every ethnic group, sexual orientation, religious, whatever the case may be. And what is one of the first things that you do when you come in and meet all of them? You hear everything about taking them to lunch. I talk to them. We hold hands and sing Kumbaya. And then I already know you're lost. You don't know what you're doing, because at one particular point, when people talk about getting people on the same sheet of music, first you got to get them on the same note. And that means that you got to get those individuals going in the same direction as you. That's the first key to team building, getting them going in your direction. All the other stuff is irrelevant, but getting them going into your direction. That's the key to team building.
It will all come into play. Like you said, once they know what that end goal is and they understand their roles, then all the other things is going to start wrapping up. And I think we'll get more into it as the questions start to flow.
Right, absolutely.
You'll understand more how it all comes together.
So the questions are flowing. Let's go into it, right? So I want to explore common negative emotions, or I'm going to call them unclean spirits, right? But I want to explore common negative emotions that you all may have seen, whether it was from the military, right? Or just different organizations that you all have helped with, such as jealousy, fear, anxiety, or anger that can affect the workplace and how it affects it.
Emotions everybody has them, right? And they're your feelings. And so when your emotions are all over the place, and they're unclean spirits, and there's jealousy, there's anxiety, there's all these other things. It will definitely affect a workplace. They don't care about what the goal is, because right now I'm all in my feelings.
Right.
I'm all about my feelings. So how do we get around that and work towards the common goal? I mean, I would say, because everybody has emotions, you have to kind of tap into why you're feeling the way you're feeling. And is it going to be something that is going to be more, it's not going to be beneficial towards the end goal? Because if I'm jealous of you, I don't want to work with you. If I have anxiety, it's hard for me to actually understand where it is that we're trying to go, because I have too much anxiety to get us there. And I know you could probably tap in on.
And let's go back to the jealousy aspect of it. You know, if you're jealous of me, you're going to spend more time trying to take me down instead of building yourself up.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, and people don't understand that. You're wasting your time on something that you have no control over. You know, and like you said, you have to understand, why are you jealous? Because are you jealous because I'm a go-getter and you're not? You know, you set into complacency, and I want to strive to do other things, you know, especially in the workplace, because now it's like, oh, well, you know, why you get this promotion and I didn't?
Right.
Well, I'm doing my job and then some, while you're just looking at 4 o'clock, ready to hit the road every day. Can't get you after, you know, can't get you to do other things, you know.
Right.
And like I said, here's my job description. I'm good at my job description. But will that get you to the next level where you want to be?
Yeah.
And so a lot of people take that, and, you know, it's jealousy, and really try to sabotage the other person, themselves, and the company. And you can see it. Those are ones are easy. And those are the ones that you can, you know, they're cancerous. And you really want to cut them out as quick as possible.
Yeah,
Honestly.
it will stop. They're usually the ones that will resign. They're usually the ones that always has something to complain about. They're never happy. There's nothing that you can do to make them happy. So, and that's within themselves. Those are the emotions that they have to deal with, right? You, as a leader, you've given them direction, motivation. You know, you've given them the end goal, but yet they're still not happy.
Yeah. So there's 2 important points that I want to bring up that you all spoke about that is just clicking in my mind, right? The first thing is that these emotional states or state of beings, it's a tri-effect. Not only does it affect the person, the company, but others just in general, right? Sure. So you're really hurting yourself more. But the second point that brought awareness to me that I thought about that you were just saying is that you all, they'll cut themselves out of their blessing in a sense, right?
No, of course.
And it's like, but with this problem, we have IDIG. We have IDIG. So IDIG can come in and can kind of not foresee it, but I guess prevent it almost, because I guess this is going to lead me into team building a little bit, because before we get there, or even if someone is in that certain state, if they do possess the characteristics of being jealous, you all can come in with your team building or workshops, and you all can maybe identify those different situations or assist in some sort of way, right?
Sure.
How? Tell me.
Well, like one of the, and when we talked about, you know, when we come in and do a working lunch, and we don't try to take people, you know, out for 2 weeks, you know, we'll try to do a working lunch and have them work on the tools that we gave them. They can see the jealousy, and they know the jealousy individuals. They know how individuals are, because at some particular point you have to choose leadership over likership. Then when
Say it one more time. Slow it down. This is going to be a real I'm going to use. Say it again.
Right. You have to choose leadership over likership.
Likership. That's a new word. Did you just create that?
It's in the book, you know, but no, it's but you know, when people have that. I like you as a person, but I'm afraid to lead you because I think it's going to affect our friendship or perceived friendship or working relationship or whatever. But you have to make that tough choice. And you know the ones that are jealous. You know, if they always talking about you or talking about the company or talking about somebody in the company, those are the ones that you come in and have to identify. And we'll tell you that I put it to you like that. If you don't correct them, somebody's going to correct you because both of y'all going to be out of a job. You know, because you're going to allow that person to pull you down and not do what you're supposed to do because you got that likership instead of leadership. You know, so those are the things. And those are the things that we help you with because when we're talking about communication, effective communication, conflict resolution, team building, that is part of it. You know, what is your team member not doing and how you correct it? And if they can't be corrected, then they need to find some other employment.
It also brings me to the point of the 4 types of individuals that can work in your company or your organization. The ones that are willing and able, unwilling and unable, willing or unwilling and but able, and then what's the last one?
Willing and unable.
Willing and unable. So you have all these individuals, and you're saying, like, how does IDIG come in and make them all work together as a team? You have to find those ones that are willing and able.
Willing and able.
Yes, they're willing and able to do the job. So they're willing and able. They can go ahead. You know, you can wind them up and let them go.
Let them go. You check on them every so often, but for the most part, you just give them the resources that they need and check on them every so often, but let them do their job.
So this is my question for you all now. It's like I'm coming into this workplace or I own this business, right? I know this person is negative, but they are great at what they do, but their energy is just off. Is it better that we just cut this person off, like just fire them? Or are we how are we coaching them? Give me specific examples or strategies that I can employ or apply with my team.
Sure. Well, that's that willing, that's that unwilling but able individual that you're talking about.
That's that.
That's that individual.
Yeah.
And you have to find ways to make that individual willing. Then once they become willing and able, now, like I said.
How though? How do you do that?
So
it depends. Like, what is something that motivates them? Is it monetary gifts? Is it time off? Is it awards? Is it giving them a project where they can work kind of solo to benefit the organization, the team? You have to find ways. You also can counsel. Definitely, hey, these are the things that I see you're doing great in this. This is where I need you to kind of pick up the slack. These are your strongholds, or this is your strong points. This is where you're weak. Working together as a team, you're lacking in some areas just because of maybe the negative attitude. What's causing the negative attitudes? Those emotions that people have. Everybody has them, right?
Right.
But it could be something within them that they need to, you know what, I may need to get some therapy, some other outside counseling to help me tap into what's causing me to have these negative feelings and emotions, and then bringing it to my workplace. Because people that are bringing that negative energy to the workplace can, destroy a climate of an organization. You don't want that. You don't want that.
And like I said, because if they constantly bringing it to the workplace, it has to be some outside force, coming in. Maybe something at home.
It's a spirit.
You know what I'm saying? So it may be a whole bunch of things. Maybe, they're trying to mask what's going on outside into the workplace. And like I said, a lot of people don't want to kind of get into what's going on outside.
This is the root, but we tapping into it right now.
Yeah, but you have to. Because that's when we talked about the counseling aspect of, becoming a mentor to that individual.
Right.
When you're talking about, hey, let me tap into you and get that mentorship aspect. And what people don't understand about mentorship is all about listening.
Right.
Tell me what's going on and let me see, am I able to help you or provide you resources to help? So that's another aspect of it. And maybe I'm not that person for you. Maybe I have nothing in common with you to be your mentor, but let me find somebody who may be able to, have something in common with you and be that mentor as well. So there's a lot of there's no just cookie cutter approach. And when you do a cookie cutter approach right there, do not hire that company. If there's somebody say, well, this will work for everybody, do not hire that company because there's no cookie cutter approach to this. You know, it has to be on each individual, and that's why we are individuals. You know, everybody's not the same.
You flowing right now, Doc.
Yes.
Am I getting my biggie on?
Think about your toolbox, right?
Yes.
Your toolbox, you can't use your hammer for everything and every individual. Somebody might need a screwdriver. Somebody might need an Allen wrench. I know, you know. Somebody may a Phillips head. Whatever that individual, you have to figure it out, and tap into that person. Yeah. So everyone is not going to be the same. It's just like your children. Right. You know, all your children. Some like lots of hugs. You know, we have one that likes lots of hugs. We have one that don't need that many hugs. Yeah, you know, we have one that likes to hang out. We have another one that likes to be, chill. So it just your organization is the same way.
Right. Because at the core of it, everything is a spirit.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, right? That's the core of it, right? Yeah. And man, I'm super excited. I want to thank you all again for coming on the Big Bang today, right?
Thank you.
Helping us, tap into our viewers. And one thing that I'm thinking about, and I just had this revelation as you all are speaking, is that how you all are able to go inside these different workplaces and help them improve and grow their organizations is going to be 3 ways, right? And before I say the 3 ways, I want to see if you all know the 3 ways I'm going to say. What are they?
The 3 ways that we go into it?
What are you thinking?
Yeah.
Leadership, leading, coaching,
and mentoring,
right?
Yeah.
And you know what I just thought about though? Yeah. If we really think about it and we really just go to the disciples or any of the prophets, what were they doing?
Yes. Leadership, right? They were coaching, mentoring.
That's what they were doing.
Yes,
right.
They were.
Oh my goodness.
They were teaching. They were doing all of that. So you're absolutely correct.
Once they identified what the problem was, right? Whatever it is that they needed, those were like the 3 whatever attributes or whatever, right? Am I tripping or is that?
No, you're not tripping. You're absolutely correct.
As he was saying that.
Talking about Paul in church on Sunday. We just got to talk about Paul.
Absolutely.
So it is. And when you look at it, because if you are a true leader, you have to be able to teach. Right. You have to be able to coach. You have to be able to counsel, provide comfort. That what the disciples did, with Jesus. You think about what their role was. Yes. To the individuals, and that's what we do. Not to say we're the disciples, nothing like that. Please don't say we're the disciples. But when you talk about taking individuals and doing that. I talked about mentorship a little while back. But when you listening to an individual and they having a problem or whatever they doing, I wrote this in my book. Yeah. When you think about
tell us what the book is.
The book is called Achievement in an Imperfect System, the Gray Zone, And one thing it was, Keneidra reminded me about it the other day, when we're talking about counseling, it's about the past, coaching and teaching is about the present, and mentorship is about the future. Yeah. And that's what you have to understand, how to separate the 3, because coaching and teaching is like, for you sports fans out there, you coaching and teaching at that moment. Right. You coaching and teaching at that moment, what's going on the field at that moment. When you talking about mentorship, you're talking about where somebody wants to get to, and you counsel them on what they've done in the past. Right. So those are the 3 pillars that I look, when you said pillars, I looked at 3 pillars, and all that falls up under the leadership aspect of it. So, those are my 3 pillars when I look at, what is a leader? Are you able to master those 3 things? The disciples, you wanted the disciples to master.
You talked about coaching and having, what's in the present. So I thought about Elijah and Elisha and how he was mentoring him, because once he was taken up, then Elisha took over. right? So he was mentoring him and showing him the way for, how the future is going to go. That was just a thought that came across my mind.
Yeah, we flowing.
Talking about that mentorship.
They gonna come. We decree that them thoughts would flow to you all. Right?
Absolutely.
Come on.
Absolutely.
All right now.
That's
So
right.
one thing that I want to transition to, right, is the importance. So now what I'm realizing is that when I look at this, if I'm viewing it from a business aspect, and I know I need to grow my organization, and I'm having those problems where I can have negative team members or whatever it may be, right?
Sure.
What I'm coming to the realization is it doesn't necessarily matter what that emotion or state that individual is dealing with. If I could come to them effectively mentoring, leadership, or coaching in that area, right, I can probably help them get to the next level. Tell me why mentorship and leadership is so important. Like, we know it's important, but listening to you all, I think everyone needs it.
Sure. Oh, yeah. Everybody needs a mentor, and whatever you're doing out there, you need to find somebody who's done it and done it better than you and where you want to go so you can find that individual. So mentorship is all about listening. When somebody is saying they need a mentor, they want somebody that's going to listen to them. Leadership, to me, is on the other aspect of it, is where I want to take you. Where's the organization going? What's the goals of the organization? So it's two avenues, but everybody got to have it. Somebody need to be able to take the lead, and somebody be able to mentor you. I have mentors to this day on every aspect of life.
Still to today, you have them.
Oh, of course.
Yes.
Talk to them regularly.
Absolutely.
And like I said, I have different mentors for different things.
Right.
I'm not able. In the Army, we both were drill sergeants. So it was easy to mentor somebody who wanted to be a drill sergeant versus somebody who wanted to be a recruiter. I didn't know anything about being a recruiter, so I have a soldier. I would say, well, look, let me put you with somebody who's a recruiter so they can mentor you on how to be a recruiter or something like that. So, and the one thing that I'm gonna say about the mentorship.
Come on.
You have to take your ego out of it. You have to take your ego out of it, because like I said, you don't know everything. So if you sitting there and got your group of soldiers around and they looking at you and you thinking you know everything and can solve all their problems without giving them other avenues or resources, then you're going to fail them at some particular point, and then that's going to change.
Why leadership and mentoring and coaching is so important. That mentorship, like he said, is going towards the future. So when you're trying to get to an end goal, when you're trying to grow your business, when you're trying to go to the next level, you must have someone mentor you to help you get to that next state. For us as a business, we have business mentors to help us go to the next level because we are trying to grow. We are trying to go to the next level. So therefore, they have been there, they have seen it, they've done it, and we need to make sure that we're following the same path or a little different, or how do we get there? So it's so important to have a mentor for your future.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And on the opposite side of it, when we're talking about leadership, you have to make sure that you set attainable goals to individuals and tell them like, hey, here are some of the things I want you to achieve within this organization. So attainable goals, and not just goals, but attainable goals, because sometimes everybody ain't gonna make CEO, everybody ain't gonna make manager, but give them attainable goals, and then you can see them grow, in their professional capacity.
With those attainable goals, that like blows their mind. Like, oh, I never thought that I would get there. I never realized that I would be at this level. And because they've had someone guiding them, coaching them, giving them leadership, talking to them about what they're doing now and where they're trying to go, it actually opens up their mind,
that's what I'm about to say.
to get to like, oh wow, and then they start actually becoming a mentor.
They believe it.
They start believing it.
The power of
belief.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Just like that power of the Bible.
Yeah.
It's that daily belief that, hey, it's your daily guide. And so
They call it your daily bread.
Your daily bread.
If you ain't know.
Sure.
and that's what
Yes.
leadership is. Leadership is the same thing, giving you your daily bread to kind of say, hey, here is something else I want you to achieve. You know, and you as a leader have to find out a way to achieve it. I know I'm a big Bo Jackson fan. And one of the coaches used to tell Bo, he's like, you know what, Bo, I know you can do it, but I know it's going to take you 2 and 3 weeks to get it done. So you can go and try it out, you know. So he motivated Bo by telling him it's going to take him longer to get it done from him getting it done. So he get it done in 1 or 2 days versus 1 or 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's, you know, you as a leader have to know how to motivate that individual.
Right,
You know,
right. So with you saying that, being a leader, you need to know how to motivate this individual, right? What I want to know is, what are some specific maybe programs or initiatives that you all offer to motivate or to promote employee retention? You know, are there any specific programs or icebreakers that you all do? You know,
There's monetary programs.
You said that
Yeah,
too.
there's certificates. People like to hang their achievements on the walls.
Right.
There's time off. People like to have time off.
Right.
You know, these are some of the things that people really value.
So what are the top 4? You listed 2. List them for us. So if someone wants to
to do them, well, know the people in your company, right?
First, you got to know the people.
Know the people in your company. So you know, like James likes money,
right?
You know, Keneidra likes time off,
right?
And these are some of the things. It depends on what your organization can offer.
Right.
So an organization may be able to offer like a weekend getaway in Hawaii. You know, we're getting there. We're not there yet, but we're gonna get there.
Call it forth.
You know, we're gonna get there.
Call it forth. Then.
So you know, it just depends on what your.
So is there like a top 4 though? Is there like a that you were saying, like money, time off,
gift cards,
certificates,
gift cards,
recognition, right?
That's right. Hey, employee of the month, you know,
right?
Your parking space. But let me go back a little bit before I hit that. So what we'll do, we will come into your organization, kind of do an assessment, and kind of say, hey, what is going on? What is missing? You know, because some companies don't even think about, hey, do we have an awards program?
Right.
You know, what does it take to get an awards program off? Or how much are we going to give it? What are we giving it for? So we'll come in and help doing an assessment. Like I said, not everybody's motivated by that. You know, when is the last time you gave, you know, a blanket
certificate?
No, not certificates, money, raises, blanket raises, whenever raises or bonuses come across. Are you able to work remotely or flex schedule? You know, a flex schedule, like they have every other Friday off. You know, some people appreciate that because they can spend time with their family or whatever. Yeah. So we come in and do an assessment to kind of see what you have, how can this be improved? Because like I said, there's no one blanket that's going to help everybody. You know, because like I say, if I'm great about saying, you know what, I would rather work remotely and I can get more done remotely. If a company can do that, why not let them work remotely and see as a test bed to see how does it work? You may get more production out of this individual. Remember we had talked about, you know, people, the unwilling but able person.
Right.
We talked about that individual and the jealous person or whatever the case may be. Take them out the environment. If they can work, take them out the environment, let them stay at home, get their work done, then you're going to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. The employees' morale may pick up at work because we ain't got to deal with this person no more. They getting the job done and they ain't got to deal with everybody. So it's just different things that you can do to kind of say, hey, let's motivate, you know, and it's all come from an assessment.
Yeah.
It's assessments first.
There's no one size fit all.
Right. So let's talk about the importance of communication, like the role of clear, effective communication, because communication has to be a large part of what you all do.
Oh my God.
Right?
Oh my God.
Absolutely.
You said the key word, effective communication. And let me give you one example of effective communication. So James, you're talking to somebody, and before you can finish your thought or your conversation or whatever you're saying to them, they done cut you off and started talking. Have you ever ran into that? That's not effective communication because they don't know what you're finished. No matter how long you're going to go with it, they didn't give you an opportunity to finish what you were saying. So they're not listening. It's two ways, speaking and hearing or listening to what you have to say. So if they already cutting you off, they ain't participating in effective communication. And effective communication is just simply saying what I'm going to need to tell you in the simplest forms and get you to do what needs to be done. We speak in a different language than somebody else. It's just, no, she and I speak it in a different language. It's English, but it's our language that we speak in.
Right.
I know when she's mad. I know she know when I'm upset. And that's our effective communication.
Right.
Sometimes I know when to shut the hell up and just listen. So you have to have that core of communication with that individual. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's a one-way street. I say, you do, and that's it. But effective communication is probably the most important thing that you can ever have. Effective communication. Because if I'm giving you something and you ain't understanding, what is it, Charlie Brown? Wah, 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 wah. If you're hearing it that way, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
It's not going to work.
Yeah, I agree. There's all kinds of examples that you can give. There are 3 pens, 1 red, 1 blue, 1 green. Mm-hmm. I need you to take the green and red pen over, but take the top off the blue pen and leave it, on the table. Uh-huh. Like, what did you just hear? Right? Uh-huh. So it just needs to be so simple, just as simple and as clear as possible to make sure you're meeting the end goal of what needs to happen. Because everybody in the organization needs to understand what needs to be done.
No, we just had that yesterday talking about coming down here.
Yes, we did. I thought about that.
Tell us about it.
So we were coming, we already made our plans, so we got a new hire, so we were going to stop by, give donuts, make sure we got a simple transition. And so she wanted to stop by our store down here. So we had plans afterwards when we go back to do that. So, well, we're not going to have time on the way back because we're going to have to meet a certain timeline. And then she said, well, what about in the morning? And I said, well, we got to make sure what we do at 9 o'clock is taken care of first. That's all I said. What she heard is, we ain't going and we ain't going to. I said, I never said that. I said, let's make sure we take care of at 9 o'clock first. Right. And whatever time we have in between, we'll take care of it. And that's what I said. I said, you heard what you want to hear. You heard we ain't going. And what I said is, we'll go after the 9 o'clock appointment.
I didn't hear that.
Yeah, she didn't hear it, but that ain't what she wanted to hear. Yeah. She didn't hear what she wanted to hear. So we had to. I had to kind of say, "Hey, here's exactly what I said. The word in this that I said, you're not going to the store."
Right. She's trying to go shop.
Yeah,
we got business to do.
That's right. That's what she heard. I don't want her to go shopping because we got business to do, and that ain't what I said. I just say, let's make sure we take care of our business first.
So that's right. Okay.
Yeah. Then she finally got it and kind of like, okay, you're right. I was like, that's effective communication.
So what I picked up, I was going to ask you all, like, what are some tips that we could apply to communicate better, right? But you touched on it. Simplicity is key. Being simplistic with what we're trying to communicate to make sure that we can get the message through clear, right? Mm-hmm. And I think also how we say things, and maybe a lot of times it's not what we're saying, but it's how we say them. Like, is it a pleasant tone? Does it feel as if it's loving? Is it kind? Well, I guess it don't have to be loving in a sense if, it's business, but is it respectful, right? Mm-hmm. So, I think communication is, what were you about to say?
Well, and also make sure you ask open-ended questions. Open-ended questions. Open-ended questions like, not did you understand what I said or what I asked or what I wanted you to do, but more of is like, now that you heard the task, tell me your initial thought of how you going to complete the task.
Right.
There's a difference. So now they're explaining it back to you. Then you be like, no, that ain't what I said. You know, and it's still saying, hey, did you understand what I said? And they're going to say, yes. No, that's not an open-ended question. You want to say, hey, so now I've told you, you know, your task. Explain it back to me what you heard, or how do you think you're going to complete this task? They can't say yes or no to it. They're going to have to tell you. And then once you get the open-ended questions, then you can kind of say, hey, let's see where we can close this gap on communication, because obviously there's a gap.
Bingo. I was going to say that exact same thing. You have to ask those questions. Clarifying questions is key. Open-ended question is key.
Yeah. So do you all have any like examples of where you went in to the workplace, the workforce, and you've literally just seen bad mojo? You knew that they had a problem with these employees, it just didn't work, and you knew you had to fix it. Well, try to help them fix it.
Oh, yes.
Lord,
Yes.
It's easy. Let me give you one. So the biggest one I had was when I came into the organization, what they said on paper wasn't what they was doing. You know, so you can't stand back and doing an assessment the whole 9 yards. You know, you're expecting they don't even meet the time frame that they want. Employees showing up whenever they want to show up, or whatever the case may be. And so then it's kind of like, you know, nobody who was in charge, or whatever the case may be. So that was organization dysfunction starting right there. So if you already starting off with the leadership with organization dysfunction, everything else is going to go down. So you had to get the leadership on board first, you know, before you can go to anybody else and make sure that they to make sure the leadership understood what that. It was just funny because, you know, it was one of those, this is the way we've always done it,
Right,
type deal. And it kind of like, nah. So now they're a smooth running machine, you know. But at first it was just kind of like it was just all over the place, and it started at the top because the leadership didn't care.
Right.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, people just sitting around, work's not being done, just, you know,
Tripping.
it was, you know, people just coming in late, coming in whenever they felt like it. It was
A
it was a
sight.
show.
It was a show.
It was something. So yes, it had to start from the top, because if leadership is allowing it and leadership is doing it,
That's a reflection of them.
you know.
Sure. And we don't allow that in our company because, like, our name is on this company. So we expect our leaders to perform as leaders, you know, with little or no guidance. You know, we want them to be willing and able, you know. So, like, while we gone doing stuff like this, I don't want to have to get a whole bunch of phone calls and saying, hey, because we instill that in them, you know, going down. So our company is solid. Yeah. So when we go out and see other companies, that's what you want. You want to be able to say, when the leadership is gone, can the unit or can the company still function while the leadership is gone? And that means that you got good leadership, because everybody knows what the role is and what the standard, what the requirement is.
Right. So I think even being a leader, right, and how you all describe it's in this particular case where the leadership allowed these certain things, right? Talk to us about the importance of like self-reflection, right? Just looking at yourself, because in that situation, it may not necessarily been the employees, it was the leader. You know, talk to us the importance about just self-reflection and personal growth.
So it goes back to those 4 types of individuals we talked about before: the willing and able, willing and unable, unwilling and able, and unwilling and unable. Everybody thinks they are willing and able individual. No, that's not happening. You probably only got 10% of the leadership force that's willing and able, only 10%. You know, the rest of it falls into the unwilling and able and unable and willing category. And you got to change that. And so if you're not ready to accept harsh criticism, not disrespectful criticism, but
Constructive.
harsh,
No, he said I had it right.
Yeah. Well, you know, people call, but I would call it harsh because sometimes it's going to be harsh. You know, and it's not always going to be constructive. Sometimes it's just going to be harsh. It's kind of like, hey, you just not getting it done.
Yeah.
You know, this is what you need to do to
Just
get it done.
BSing right now.
Yeah, you just
dropped the ball.
But you
I was
dropping
just
it.
talking to somebody about
That's
that.
right. Trying to put your neck in the guillotine, you know.
Yeah.
But, you know, so sometimes it needs to be upfront and in your face and harsh to kind of say, hey, to get you to say, I need to self-reflect and kind of like, oh, man, hey, maybe I'm not getting it done.
I feel
you know.
that.
You think about this, James, for a minute. What you were at this other job, you could have been the superstar.
Right.
Come into this new job, get a new promotion. You can't hang your hat on what you did before. This is a new opportunity, a new growth for you. And so you have to be the superstar in this role and beyond. And some people always want to hold on to what they've done in the past.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to let that go. So sometimes that's where that self-reflection and growth come in at. You know, you asked to, you know, you apply for a job to be a manager, supervisor, leader, or whatever. Step into the role. When you gonna step into the role? And that's where that harsh criticism comes in that, because constructive criticism is way back here when you first came on. I'm giving you constructive.
Right.
Now it's harsh criticism because now you just need a swift kick.
When you're able to look at yourself and be like, you know what? I need to improve here. That is when you're now going to start stepping into being a better leader. This is when you're going to step into being able to say, okay, how can I improve and how can I get the people around me to improve? How do we show up as our best selves? How do we start to build this team to make sure that the organization is going in the direction we want? And as soon as you're able to say, you know what, I messed that up.
Yeah.
I didn't do the best that I could for that. And you start taking accountability for the things that you know you messed up on, you're actually stepping into a better light for yourself to become a better leader.
And your employees want to know that you're human too, that you can mess up.
Yeah,
apologize and say, hey, I messed this up. You know, because nobody's perfect on here. You know, so you have to understand that you're going to mess up. You know, you're going to say something out of pocket. You're going to do something that ain't right or whatever the case may be. And then a lot of times people always want to rush, you know, to make a decision. And that ain't always the best thing. So that's part of your self-reflection is, if I got time to make the decision, why do I need to make it now? Give me time to think about it. You know, and then that's part of yourself. That's part of your growth. You know, to kind of say, hey, you know what? Let me sit back. Let me consult with some of my mentors and see have they been through this. You know, let me consult with my partner and see what they think. You know, let's get two heads better than one. You know, and that's growth when you can say, hey, and humble yourself and ask for help.
Humble yourself.
Yeah, you got to be humble. If you ain't humble, you're going to crumble. You like that. You say, I hear that.
That's hard.
Humble,
Say
crumble.
it again.
Yeah. If you don't humble yourself, you're going to crumble. You know, it's Biggie 101.
He flow it.
I love Biggie.
Okay.
Biggie, my guy.
And man, y'all dropped some powerful jewels today. And what I want to leave on is, if we could tell our viewers, and I want you to tell the viewers exactly what is one thing that you all would leave them with, if this was your last willing testament, what would we leave them with and why?
And so just as far as the leadership aspect,
Just in general.
Just in general.
For me, what I would leave the viewers with is knowing who is in control. If you know that God is in control and you are keeping your eyes on him and know where your help is coming from, and know that he's going to lead you in the direction, but you have to go to God. You have to have a relationship to say, all right, where do you want me to go? What is it that you want me to do? How do I lead these individuals? I would say definitely just know where your help comes from. Knowing that God gives you the grace and God gives you the energy and God gives you the knowledge and the power. It all comes from him. So when you know where it comes from and he ordains it, and no matter what spirit try to come in, is not going to be able to break it down. That's what I would say.
And I would go with this as a leader. I'm a quote guy, and I like quotes. You know, those who allow the internal light to shine don't need the spotlight. And as a leader, you don't need the spotlight. And so, know who you are and be confident in who you are. That's the bottom line. You got to be confident in who you are, because if you're not confident in yourself, you're gonna show it, and they ain't gonna have the others ain't gonna have confidence in you either. You know, especially as a leader. And so, make sure that you apply all the things that you learn out your toolbox. You know, expand that toolbox, but apply it to make yourself a better person.
Right.
You got to be better. You know, and like I said, it all starts with the Almighty. You know, and it works its way through you down to others.
Right.
But if it don't, then you're gonna be out there by yourself.
Right. And one thing that's important, and I'll end on that, is that man can plan his desires all day, the desires of his heart, but God is going to order your footsteps, right? So it was a privilege having you all here today. We want to make sure that you all tune in every Sunday at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. We're super thankful. We want to thank IDIG for coming out today, touching on everything that they touched on. They're experts in leadership, mentoring, and coaching, right? They're rebuking those unclean spirits that we talked about today. So we're super thankful. Make sure you tune in. You all have a blessed day, and we'll see you later. Peace.